What happens when a comedy website decides the best way to deal with a massive disinformation empire isn't to write jokes about it, but to literally buy it? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because we're looking at one of the strangest corporate takeovers in media history. For years, Alex Jones targeted the families of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting with relentless conspiracy theories. In 2022, a jury held him accountable, awarding those families a total of $1.4 billion in defamation damages. But securing a massive judgment is only half the battle. To actually pay that debt, the courts froze Jones's assets and ordered the liquidation of his media company, Free Speech Systems. The problem is, it's incredibly difficult to sell off a digital media brand whose entire value is tied to a single, highly toxic personality. Let me know in the comments, if you were in charge of tearing down a fake news network, what would you consider the ultimate poetic justice? The entity that stepped up to acquire the Infowars platform wasn't a traditional media conglomerate or a private equity firm. It was the satirical news outlet, The Onion. This move changes the nature of the legal battle. Instead of a standard bankruptcy auction, this is an attempt to use the judicial system to take control of the offender's physical property and repurpose it for the benefit of the people they harmed. To understand how a parody site could afford this, we have to look at their CEO, Ben Collins. He recently transitioned The Onion away from a standard ad-supported digital model, pivoting heavily into premium print subscriptions. This chart visualizes The Onion's financial trajectory, showing a 300% increase in annual revenue during 2025. That growth is driven by a base of 65,000 subscribers, each paying $99 a year for physical newspapers. CEO Ben Collins explains that his readers understand they are subsidizing industrial-scale stunts. They are paying for the publication to move beyond the screen and actively intervene in real-world media conflicts. That specific pool of subscription capital gave the publication the liquidity it needed to enter the bankruptcy option and submit a formal bid for Free Speech Systems. By reviving the traditional print journalism business model, The Onion built a war chest, capable of outbidding competitors for the assets of a modern digital disinformation network. In April 2026, The Onion submitted a formal proposal to a judge in Austin, Texas. They offered an $81,000 per month licensing fee to take complete control of Free Speech Systems' physical studios and intellectual property. This arrangement operates as a 6-month lease. It allows them to immediately run the platform, while a state-appointed receiver works out the permanent sale of the underlying assets. The editorial plan involves bringing in comedian Tim Heidecker as creative director. He will lead a group of independent comedians in using the existing Infowars equipment to parody the very conspiracy personalities who built the network. The deal includes direct financial restitution. Every dollar from new merchandise sales routes straight to Sandy Hook families. This strategy moves past simply silencing a platform. By keeping the infrastructure running, The Onion can funnel the revenue from an established digital business directly into the court-ordered payments for the victims' families. But that raises a massive technical question. What actually happens to the millions of social media followers attached to a bankrupt digital empire? That question triggered a major legal roadblock when Elon Musk's X filed a formal objection, attempting to block the bankruptcy court from transferring the Infowars accounts to The Onion. Here is X's core legal argument. X Corp acts as the absolute owner, granting only a revocable license down to the user account. Because of this clause, X claims they can block the court from transferring these digital assets to a new buyer. The implication is severe for any digital creator. If you do not legally own your social media presence, your entire business value can be wiped out at the platform owner's discretion. Despite this acquisition, Alex Jones has vowed to keep broadcasting, rebooting the exact same show on his personal social media accounts and newly created websites. But the scale of his operation is vastly diminished. His original physical studios, his primary URLs, and the e-commerce infrastructure he spent decades building are being systematically dismantled. Historically, society has tried to combat fake news through content moderation. Platforms would ban accounts, or victims would file defamation lawsuits that rarely resulted in actual payouts. This event pioneers an entirely different approach. It uses the bankruptcy courts to execute a literal, physical acquisition and repurposing of an offender's entire corporate infrastructure. By acquiring the physical microphones and web domains of their targets, satire has moved into the realm of infrastructure. The outlet now controls the literal tools previously used to broadcast the disinformation they once only parodied.